Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another daily devotion. This devotion I'm recording to be broadcast on the morning of Friday, April 1st of 2022, April Fool's Day. And we are in the ninth chapter. We've just gotten to the ninth chapter of Matthew's Gospel. And we're going to look at verses 1 through 8 today. We left Jesus off yesterday healing the demoniacs. And there, remember that story was a little bit different than what we have in Mark and Luke, in that here in Matthew's there are two demoniacs, whereas in Mark and Luke there's just the one demoniac around the tombs. So again, today we have a little bit different story as compared to the other two synoptics, but this is a story again that's in all three, just that Matthew changes it slightly. So let's take a look, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a moment. Matthew chapter 9, verses 1 to 8. And after getting into a boat, he crossed the sea and came to his own town. And just then some people were carrying a paralyzed man lying on a bed. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Take heart, son, your sins are forgiven." Then some of the scribes said to themselves, "This man is blaspheming." But Jesus, perceiving their thoughts, said, "Why do you think evil in your hearts? For which is easier to say, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Stand up and walk'? But so that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." He then said to the paralytic, "Stand up, take your bed, and go to your home." And he stood up and went to his home. When the crowd saw it, they were filled with awe, and they glorified God who had given such authority to human beings. Okay, this is a little different than Mark and Luke, in that in Mark and Luke, Jesus goes into his home, and the men bring this paralytic to try to have him healed, but they can't get into the house because there's so many people trying to get in to be healed. Jesus is on a healing tour, as they say. And since they cannot get in, they crawl up on the roof, take the cot up there with them. They make some makeshift ropes onto it, I guess, somehow, or fashion ropes onto the cot. So they tear a hole in the roof and lower the man in so that he's right there in front of Jesus, and Jesus has this almost theatrical event happen that he can then focus on that man that's just coming down from the sky to be healed. Um, Matthew doesn't do that. And in fact, the NRSV is a little bit off. The NRSV makes it sound even more different, but the NRSV doesn't do it quite justice there because they're bringing the man to Jesus. The NRSV doesn't word it that way. They're just saying that the men were carrying. In the Greek, it should be they were bringing it to them. And so when Jesus sees them bringing this man, that these friends are bringing this man, and that's when he says, they saw their faith. It's not his faith, it's their faith. It's the men's faith bringing their friend. They knew that Jesus could help their friend, so they have faith in it. And then Jesus he absolves him of his sins. And now that is where the blaspheming comes in, of course, is that only God can forgive sins. And of course, there is a catch 22 to that, because since by their understanding that if you are having some kind of disability, it's because of sin. If you had some kind of malady, it's because of sin in your life. So if you're telling him you forgive his sins, well then wait a minute, he's still lame. He must not have been forgiven. There's no demonstration of him being forgiven because he's still a paralytic. So to drive home the point and to make clear the point, Jesus then heals him. So therefore, completing the act of his healing, showing his completion of his act, rather, of him being forgiven of the sins because he was healed. So the interesting thing there is that's when the scribes are thinking he's blaspheming. Well, a couple of ways, saying that he can heal some, or forgive rather, someone's sins. Only God can do that, and that's blaspheming, because if he's saying that, then he's saying he's God, and he's also blaspheming, saying that he's, wait a minute, he's still lame. You're mocking the fact that God made him lame because of his sins. You're saying your sins are gone. You're mocking God. That's the blasphemy there, in a couple of ways. So that's what is meant here. But Jesus, so that they can witness it, he heals the man after he forgives the sins. And that's when, but the interesting thing about this, that there's a twist of events, is that even though the scribes are mumbling and grumbling, The people see what's going on. They see the God's glory through Jesus, and they are filled with awe, and they are basically and ecstatically glorifying God. They're enthusiastic about all of this and the fact that he is doing it through this man, Jesus Christ, who they should soon know is God himself, is God incarnate, as they say. So that's what I've got for you today. I do apologize. I'm a little off today. I've got bad sinus headache. I had that yesterday as well. I just returned from the Prairie Pastors Conference in Omaha, and the weather's changing a lot, so dealing with some unclear thought thinking here. So with that, I'm going to let you go. Have a very blessed day, and please, please, please be a blessing to someone today. On Monday, we will pick up with the call of Matthew. God bless. See you later.